to get a video done. I've actually had time to get undone. That's a miracle in itself. Anyway, so for those who can remember, way back on Tuesday, I did a video talking about genre theory and basically what genre is and how crime novels will all follow a particular plot, story, line thing. Same with romance, they all follow the same kind of structure. Thrillers, horrors, they all follow, depending on their genre, will all follow a particular pattern. Anyway, I thought, because genre's the first thing I think of when coming up with a novel idea, short story, anything like that, I thought I would introduce you to this free app. I'm not sponsored for anything, but it's really helped me. I've not had it all that long, but I'm loving it already. Called Wavemaker. Now, I know it's definitely available on PC because that's what I'm using. I'm not entirely sure about Mac, so you'll have to check. But it is amazing. So I'm more going to go onto the novel thing. So if I type here, YouTube videos, I'm typing in the dark right now, that's how good I am. Anyway, so we'll go for a better novel, actually no, we'll go for an empty project and create project. I'm a bit of a div, I keep clicking close and I'm wondering why it's not making anything. Hey ho. So anyway, when you first open it up, it'll open up onto this page, which is basically like Word, but more basic. So I can just type, hey everyone. I swear. I probably should turn the light on. That might actually help me. But hey ho, we're not gonna struggle with technical difficulties such as that. Anyway, so what this app, this like app thing, whatever you want to call it, is actually really good. So it has a manuscript, it has, oh no, so that's just, you can get rid of that so you can just focus on that one. So we have writer, which is basically what this is. So you can type here, it keeps your word count down there. I haven't really used this page much, so I'm not entirely sure if it does spelling or not. But there you go, you can look, if you click on this little eye thing, you become distraction free. You can focus on just what you're writing, which actually that looks pretty clever. You can also add notes. So we also have search, but this bit is just releasing, so I've not really had a chance to mess with that yet. Snowflake tool as well. So it's like you can come up with a character, for example, and then if you have any hidden notes or anything like that, that's really good. But I have mainly been focusing on, we also have a planning board. Now if I were to go on to the better novel thing, it gives you chapters already. I think it gives you up to about 21 chapters already for you to add character cards and things like that, and I'll go into that in another video, but for now I want to specifically talk about genre before I send myself off onto all the tangents. So we've got planning board, we've got a grid planner as well. If you're someone who is really struggling to put your plot into an order that's workable, I know that's what I've been struggling with. I swear it was only 20 chapters when I started, and now it feels like it's a million because I keep coming up with all sorts of plot twists. So this can be a great way as well for you to add them and then reorder them and all that kind of thing. And we've got mind maps. Now this is what I really wanted to show you, so I'll go to that in a second. Timelines, if you're someone as well like me who always struggles to put their story into a particular order, this is a really good tool to use. Also, if you're just trying to get into the whole writing thing, or you don't really have the time because of work, uni, college, wherever, it has challenge mode, so you can choose 5 minutes, 150 words, or 300 words in 10 minutes, and I'm hoping you can't hear the dog right now. But yeah, you can set it so however many words you want to do, but it says here, complete the task. If you leave the page or the computer crashes or anything else before you click finish, it's all gone. so I'm not brave enough yet to try that. And we can also export any documents on here as well. Or you can also sync up to Google Drive, so if anyone has that, and I will most likely end up syncing all my uni work to it, then that is really good. So, where have my mind maps gone? Mind maps. Genre, before I go off onto a million and one tangents. So, and I've kind of cheated a little bit because I've already pre-prepared, kind of. So we have a new mind map. We're going to say genre mind map. Can you tell I've got a light now? Yeah, there we go. Oh, before that messes with my OCD. See, so there we go, genre mind map. And then we add a new text node, which is this thing. Now it doesn't come up like a normal mind map, which drives me a little bit bonkers, but I also kind of like it at the same time. So, what did I say? On Tuesday in the last video, I said that I like the crime fiction genre. I love my murder mysteries. I love watching Poirot at the minute. I think in about a week I've marathoned through about 12 episodes of 12 seasons even of A Touch of Frost. I'm that obsessed that I've even got my own murder board because of the storyline I'm working on for uni. So yeah, so we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go for crime thriller. So that is the genre I want to work on, and I'm gonna shrink that down a little bit. Oh, okay, apparently I can't shrink it down. Anyway, so that is what I am choosing to focus on. So that is the genre that I have chosen. Anyway, so I have chosen to work on the crime thriller genre. Probably should have got my notebook out before. Hey ho. Anyway, so one of the things that I am doing is looking into, well, actually I'll just call it research for now. Research. Now you can then link this to this like that. So that way you can link it to however you want it to go. So for my research, I looked into existing fictional detectives. There we go, like that. See? So yeah, so one of the things I looked at was existing fictional detectives. I did also look at the criminals, but for the sake... Actually, no, what? We'll add that as well. Like that. So, yeah, like that. So I did research into fictional detectives such as Sherlock Holmes, Touch of Frost, Poirot. Who else did I look at? Kate Beckett. I don't know if any of you have seen Castle, but I absolutely love that show. I think it's such a unique take on the genre because I don't think that's ever been done before. I mean, yeah, sure, in the more recent-ish BBC version of Sherlock, like John was a blogger or something, but in Castle it's a completely unique take. It's an author who is trying to get inspiration for his crime novels, ends up following the New York Homicide Department. It is absolutely hilarious. I mean, obviously there's serious moments because it's the Homicide Squad, but it is still hilarious. So, and then what else did I look into? So I looked into fictional detectives and criminals. I also made some use out of my marathon through A Touch of Frost and other such shows. Reoccurring, and I can never spell that one. There we go. So reoccurring locations. Now god, why can't I spell today? Anyway, if I close that, I've got more room. Anyway, so let me just reorganise this a little minute. I think that's the only negative I've thought of so far for this app, because it doesn't link things automatic, it doesn't lay things out automatic, it just leaves me to my own devices, which is never a good thing. So that is the main bit of research I done. I did more into like realistic crime rates. I looked at the UK crime rates for 2018 to 2019. I also looked at like what crimes were on the rise. I also even looked at like local streets and which ones were more likely to have crime. I may have gone a little bit overboard to the point where I handed in about 10 pages of research. It was beautiful, graphs everywhere. So yeah, oh, that's another one. Audience research. If you're writing just for fun, this isn't too important, but I had to for my project. But if you're someone who is looking to publish eventually, which if I can ever sit down, focus on one idea without coming up with a million others, I'd love to do eventually. But audience research is very important, so we're going to add that. Are you going to... Don't tell me you froze. There we go. So audience. When it came to audience, I looked at who would read it, and I sent a survey out anonymously because that seemed like the most accurate way to get results for me. If I was to physically go around and ask people to answer my survey, I'm going to know whether more women or men were answering my survey, or there was even people who were non-binary or gender fluid or the whole rainbow. So I put it on posted it on Facebook and then got my teachers to share it as well. So I had no idea who was answering it. I just knew I got loads of answers. Thank you to everyone who answered that. I basically asked, like, would you read the crime thriller genre? How old are you? What gender do you identify as? I think that was basically it. They're the main 3 questions I asked anyway. And because I use SurveyMonkey rather than Google Forms or whatever it is, I was actually able to look into the individual answers that I was receiving and found out that it was more men that was likely to read the genre I'm writing in, and that actually really helped me. And as well as when I looked at that research compared to the research I did into existing fictional detectives and criminals, I found out that this genre is very man-dominated. It's very male. Like, just thinking of the ones in my head, like Sherlock, he's a man. Frost, he's a man. Moores, he's a man. Poirot, he's a man. And then it's very, when you think of a detective, it's usually a man in your head. So I decided, before I send myself off onto a rant, that for my idea, for my story, whatever it was going to be, I was going to use a female detective because, one, it would be unique in that sense because, like I said, Frost is a man, Moores is a man, Sherlock is a man. They're all very male, like, it's a very male-dominated genre when it comes to, like, the detectives. Even the criminals were mostly men. And I think I looked at a list of over 200 fictional criminals. And that wasn't necessarily just from novels, it was from EastEnders, Coronation Street, things that are supposed to be real life. And again, that was mainly a male-dominated thing. So after that as well, I also decided it was going to be a female criminal. It was going to be a female criminal and a female detective, which threw me completely off guard because all the ones I've looked at is usually a man that gets arrested and a man that does the arresting. So I looked into all them, and it was actually pretty decent. I also did like research into names of these detectives, and like I wanted to give my detective something that was quick to say, punchy, like they could just answer the phone and be like, "Yep, that's me," kind of thing. So like obviously, like it's just like, "Yep, Frost," or "Yep, Moores," or "Yep, Lewis," or "Yep, it's Sherlock," or I just wanted that kind of name, and I can't even remember what name I picked for my detective. That's how terrible I am. So after I did all my research, I then went into structure. I've got the torch on my phone right now, and at first it sounded like a great idea in my head until it started blinding me. There we go. Now I can see my keyboard without going blind. Anyway, so structure. Now I'm not entirely sure how I can mind map this to show you what I did, because like I said, post-it notes all over the house. After listening to different audiobooks, and I'm currently reading The Burning Souls, which is one of the ones that I looked at when I did my existing fictional detectives criminals thing. I also looked in, well, I did so much research it hurts. I just keep thinking of more things I did. By existing media, I could mean printed media, I could mean film, what you stereotypically know as media. So I looked at TV shows, I looked at films. Why is that not changing? I'm pretty sure I've changed that like 3 times now. Why? There. Problem solved, I hope. If that changes again though, I'm gonna cry. So, there we go. I haven't got the hang of this laptop yet. You have to like, there's like 3 different places on the mouse you're supposed to click. It's weird. So, I guess existing media kind of comes under more like the fictional detectives and fictional criminals come under the existing media anyway, but I looked more into like how they're structured, how it was always the solving of the crime rather than the committing. Apart from one series that I became obsessed with just a little bit, called The Fall, which I watched with my parents in January, which was this guy, bit psycho, going around killing women and then basically using them like dolls and painting their nails and making them look all pretty. But that was the first time I've seen anything written from the killer's perspective, or like showing the actual committing of the crime rather than the solving of, which then inspired my structure, which I will now link up to this because it's relevant. There we go. I'm getting the hang of this. So, I knew that I wanted my novel. In fact, you know what? I'm not going to look at structure yet. I'm going to look at characters because that's something important. There. So I know I want a female detective, because that is, again, very rare. I mean, it's becoming more and more common now, but out of the ones that you think of, as soon as you think of detectives already, or if I was to Google detectives, it's more than likely going to be a man that comes up. So in that idea, I wanted to stand out. I also know that I want to have a female killer. Oh, actually no, criminal. So, I've looked at my characters. I know, and I'm going to be doing, in fact, I've got so many theories popping around in my head. On Tuesday, I'm going to be looking at semiotics. Someone remind me, or I'll write it down somewhere, because that relates to the genre thing. that I referred to on Tuesday. And then probably the Tuesday after that, I will look at Props's theory, which shows that there are certain character types, and that is actually really relevant. So with that in mind, I'm going to leave the characters for now. I'm going to leave them over there to do their own little thing, and they can have fun over there. Bye bye. You guys have fun. Anyway, so like that, and then I think that's another issue. You should be able to click on the box and just add another one next to it. But anyway, so research, characters, now I'll go into structure. So usually, in fact I don't even know what heading this would be under, but we're going to do it anyway. So from detective's perspective, it is also and I'm more looking, like I said, at the crime thriller genre. You might, if you're looking at romance, for example, come up with something completely different to what's coming up here. But hey ho, I tried. Usually more than one crime committed. I was so close. Yeah, there's usually more than one. So the detective's usually kept on their toes. So this morning on my trains, I was watching an episode of Frost. There was some psycho dancer that was chopping people up, and there was a man with two families where both his wives and kids had the same names. That was a bit weird. But yeah. So the detective is usually kept on their toes. There's usually a bit where they don't think they're going to be able to do it, and I'm going to go into another theory because oh my god, they're popping up everywhere. In fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to right here, props, theory, there. So I'm going to add that there, so I'll remember for next week. And then we're going to add, because I can't remember off the top of my head, the guy who did it, the hero's journey. And this hero's journey thing I will go over. I don't know when, but I will. It basically says that no matter what genre, a specific loop, I guess you could say, is done by the character. So they'll start off in like the normal world, as you might call it. Some tragic accident happens. They get sent off on an adventure, come back knowing all this new stuff about the world around them. That's generally the tip. So like The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, living his quiet life, then a bunch of dwarves show up at his house. Next thing he knows, he's on an adventure to a mountain, finds a ring, got a weird golem thing chasing after him, but then he goes home and lives happily ever after, but with all this knowledge and experience that he has gained from this adventure. Wizard of Oz, she starts off in Kansas, tragic accident, tornado, she ends up in Oz, crushes a witch, gets some slippers, goes to kill another witch, taps her feet, ends up home with all this knowledge she's learnt in Oz. So that is the general idea. I'm going to go into more depth with this props and heroes stuff, but it is relevant. And then props' theory is that there's always a set group of characters or I say personality types, he says characters. So I'll have that debate some other time. But yeah, I think that is it for for this video, guys. This is my basic planning, as in when I'm coming up with my idea, then I will think of my genre first, which I have done. I've thought of my crime thriller stuff, and then I've gone into my research, what kind of research I could do, what kind of characters and theories I could look at, the structure, like it's usually the detective's perspective, there's usually more than one crime committed, the hero's journey thing, which I will go over, I just don't know when. So yeah, that is the general gist of how I get going. I think next Thursday I will probably go over research, as in how I set it out, because I am not a tidy person until it comes to my research, because I need everything to be where I can find it. I have post-it notes everywhere, I've got highlighters, I've even discovered see-through post-it notes so that I can cover my work and highlight all the key points without making a mess. Honestly, they're like the best things ever invented. I'm so happy with them. But yeah, so next week I will go into my research and how I set it all out, and then hopefully that will help you guys when you guys come to writing your very own novel. I mean, obviously I'm focusing on the crime thriller stuff, but hopefully this will help you. Now, when it comes to the structure and characters, I'm going to be coming up with a brand new idea just for the sake of these videos so that I can start fresh with you guys, but I'll also be referencing other ideas I've come up with. But yeah, I think that is all from me, guys, so I shall see you later. Bye!